Princess Liberty, a few years later, it's the same story over and over and over again. And a lot of people will listen. A lot of people are checking out our claims and finding out this is the truth. But still some people are in willful denial because deep down, it's not they're stupid. Deep down, they're so afraid that they have to admit this to themselves. It's scary. It means there are real monsters in control of this country. It means we're all in danger. But I tell those delusional individuals, a lot of times they break out of it, listen, don't you understand? You know this is true deep down. You need to check out the information to find out we're telling the truth. Completely verify it, and then you need to take action because you're in great danger. Just because you live in denial doesn't mean that the real world changes. And we move to 9/11. There's been so many great speakers here today, and so many of you are experts on 9/11 as well, and you've researched it. Many of you here have contributed greatly to this foundation movement that is so critical at every level. This really is the zeitgeist. This is the fulcrum on which humanity will fall into deeper tyranny or emerge into greater liberty. But just take the 9/11 hijackers alone. It is admitted. It was in the San Jose Mercury News, the Associated Press, a month after 9/11. What was the headline? Head of Defense Language School says Bush behind 9/11. And the next we heard he was being court-martialed, but they dropped him. And I called and talked to him at his house. He said he couldn't go on my radio show. His wife, or whoever the woman was screaming at him saying, they threatened you to get off the phone. I've had these conversations many times. This happened. Anyways, he's in the newspaper, and he just says, listen, these guys were trained at our base in spy training. These hijackers, these faces. And then it comes out in Newsweek, but it just comes out and then it's forgotten. It slips out through the editor. A real report goes out. They never retracted it. They admitted it happened. At least look at the hijackers trained in some weird covert operation at the Pensacola Naval Air Station, and there were 3 different pilots on the base with the same name. And in one of the photos, it's one of the supposed hijackers. And I interviewed 2 different embassy heads, one out of Saudi Arabia, Mr. Springman, and when they'd gone to their, quote, Malaysian terror summit, Al-Qaeda terrorist summit in 2000, they were trying to come back in. They were trying to go through Saudi Arabia. He said, no, you don't get visas. It says you're terrorists. We've got their number came up in the intelligence system. And so they couldn't get it for a couple of days. They got a call from the highest level of the State Department. That's all he would tell me. Saying, back off these guys. That terrorist designation is because they're anti-terrorist officers. And that's the cover. And of course that does fit in with what we know really happened on 9/11. These guys were decoys, they were patsies, they were Lee Harvey McVeighs. It's the same story over and over and over again. I've only got about 10 minutes left with you, so I want to go through a little bit more on 9/11. We all talk about PNAC. You can go read them saying we need this catalyzing Pearl Harbor event to mobilize these people. Brzezinski in 97 goes further, calling us slaves and calling foreigners barbarians. And we're so multiracial and ethnic and all split up now that the only way they can, get us together for a war is that something big and horrible happens, a helpful Pearl Harbor event. And there's Air Force reports that I've just discovered from 97, Gulliver's Travails, where they're saying in this backcasting report, we need a big terror attack to happen in 2002 to set us on the path to global empire. And the head of the Naval War College and a bunch of these other guys that on C-SPAN, Barnett and others, saying, we are the empire, we work for the global banks, we're taking over. I mean, they're on television saying they're taking over. There is no hiding it. And this is what's always brought down tyrants and their servants and their thugs and their pimps and their pumps. This is what's always brought these systems down, is because they become so arrogant, kind of like the Marie Antoinette. It's not a true story, but it's a great story. Let them eat cake when they're about to knock down the gates of the Bastille. And then the people that wanted to knock down the gates of the Bastille actually went and told the people, she said, let them eat cake. The difference is Dick Cheney and Bush and the rest of them really are saying, let them eat cake. It's unbelievable. So, of all these hundreds of points, if you explain the motives, if you reach out to people, if you point out that everything the government's done is to take our liberties away, it has nothing to do with fighting terror, even if you believe the official story, you can begin to break people free of their control that the government has put over their minds. But again, most of you know that here tonight, if not all of you, or at least those that are questioning, are here questioning and seeking. And I challenge you to go out and research the facts for yourself so you can find out that we are telling you the truth. And you can be well-spoken and informed on these issues, because this is paramount. The elite have openly put on the record, this is what my next film is going to be about, how they plan to put us all in control grid, compact cities. And they plan to then have one-child policies, and they plan to release controlled plagues against the population to reduce our numbers by 85 to 95%.
Them first. Dr. Blank.
Them first, yeah. Dr. Bianca, all of them. Prince Philip, all of them. This is on the record. And it's so they can have access to all the advanced technology, so they can greedily have it all for themselves, so they can control their environment and have less of us. They've already realized they're going to lose. That's why they're trying to dumb us down as fast as they can. That's why they're openly talking about how they're going to exterminate us. And that's the reason this is life and death. This is not a joke. This is not a game. Okay? We're years away from them being able to carry this out. And we are stumbling blocks to them. We're actually getting to push them back on many fronts. But let me tell you that I study these issues enough to be able to predict 9/11 and say they're going to hit the towers and say they'll probably use their asset bin Laden 2 months before. I live, eat, drink, and breathe this. And I know that you understand. I know that you are aware. But I'm just trying to reach out to you and get you to consciously realize how high the stakes are. And I want to commend you for what you're doing. I want to commend you for being here tonight and for caring and not being out there, watching some mindless ball game while Rome is burning, while our society